Thanks for joining us at this primetime news hour on Equinoxe television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. In our top stories tonight, the Constitutional Council in the Republic of Cameroon is examining 12 petitions filed by some politicians who were expelled from the 7th of October 2018 presidential race by the Electoral Council of the Election Organizing Body Elections. Cameroon will be taking a look at those petitions. In this newscast, and out of the country, 4 persons are shot dead in Canada. The shooting took place today. Thanks for joining me in this edition of the news on Equinoxe television. The Constitutional Council in President Paul Biya's country has begun examining petitions filed in by politicians after the publication of the official list of candidates who will be taking part in the October 7, 2018 presidential election in the Republic of Cameroon. The petitions are being examined by the Constitutional Council. There are 12 of them in a number, and some of the petitions came from the Cameroon Party for Social Justice and, of course, the Union for Democracy, the Cameroon Union for Democracy and Innovation. Equinoxe takes a look at those petitions in this newscast.
It is this August 10, 2018 that the Constitutional Council has begun examining some 12 petitions tabled by some presidential aspirants whose candidacies were rejected. Most of the irregularities are blamed on the non-respect of the Electoral Code. Bertin Kisop of the Cameroon Party for Social Justice introduced petition number 9 bearing the rejection of President Paul Biya's candidature on grounds that he is incompetent in management, especially when it comes to international affairs. Bertin Kisop as well introduced petition number 10 on the rejection of his candidacy by Elecam, calling on the Constitutional Council to overturn the decision of Elections Cameroon, which to him has been irrational. Bertin Kisop also argues and says Elecam downplayed on his personality and expects the Constitutional Council to restore his dignity as a presidential candidate. Petition number 11 was filed in by the Cameroon Union for Democracy and Innovation, CDUI, of Mr. Valentine, calling on the Constitutional Council to right the wrongs of Elecam committed during examination of files which saw the violation of the Electoral Code. To him, the decision to run as presidential candidates is primary and any other thing secondary. Petition number 12 was filed in still by Bertin Kisop of the Cameroon Party for Social Justice, calling for the cancellation of the presidential election if justice is not done to his party and his candidature in what he describes as the absence of a level playground, which should be established by the Constitutional Council. It should be noted that the CC has 10 days to publicize the verdict as stipulated by Cameroon's Electoral Code.
And some of the candidates for the October 7, 2018 presidential election in the Republic of Cameroon have presented their manifestos to young people in the country's economic capital, Douala. They met with the young people in an interactive seminar here in the economic capital, Douala. The seminar gave the young people the opportunity to get clarifications on some issues concerning the political programs of the different persons who will be taking part, the different persons and political parties who will be taking part in the elections coming up on the 7th of October. And of course, during that meeting, some young people told Equinoxe that some of the politicians were not convincing enough to deserve their votes. For me, Armstrong Sander compiled the support.
They came from across the national triangle to meet with some candidates running to be presidents of the Republic of Cameroon come October 2018. These youth met face to face with the candidates to question their manifestos, especially in their capacity as electorate.
I think it's a very, very important thing for us as young people, because if we don't participate in this political process, I think our concerns will not be taken into consideration during their mandates, and also that we just generally not have any presence in the political process, which I think was the case in the past, and now it's about to change. And
after listening to the messages of these politicians, some youth say they are not impressed.
These politicians tell us the same thing every day. They give us beautiful promises which are never realized. Since 2011, all they tell us is the same. I would prefer if they speak with exact statistics on the rate of unemployment and how they intend to solve the problem.
Most of them say they are yet to decide on who to vote among the 9 candidates written for the October 7 presidential election. However, some say it was a laudable initiative that positively impacted them.
Today has been an opportunity to even just talk one-on-one, face-to-face with the different candidates, and to hear from them and to actually ask them their personal questions and concerns, which is something that I think I really, really appreciate.
The organizers of the event sounded positive for the initiative, which they say has been a success. They organized the interactive meeting based on the demands of some youth who complain of following politicians only on TV. 9 candidates to take part in the upcoming presidential elections are already known. Some of them present at the event reiterated their stand in favor of an opposition coalition. If the 8 opposition candidates will form a coalition against incumbent President Paul Biya is the question one can only answer in the days ahead.
4 shops have been consumed by wild flames not far from the Mbopi market here in the country's economic capital, Douala, and the flames were started yesterday at about 8 p.m. and all the electronic equipments in the 4 shops were simply ravaged by the flames, and the damage caused has been evaluated to over 10 million francs CFA. The loss is evaluated at over 10 million francs CFA. It took quite a long period of time for firefighters to quench the flames, and this is because of the manner in which the shops were locked. The shops are not far from the Mbopi Gendarmerie Brigade. Now we talk about refugees from Central African Republic who are being integrated in public schools in Gaoundéré in the Adamawa region of the Republic of Cameroon. Equinoxe has the details.
Sports, they say, enables people to live together as one. This is the mechanism being used to unite Cameroonian children and refugee children at the Bogob Central African Refugee Camp in Johong subdivision, situated 100 kilometers from Menganga in Gaoundéré, Adamawa region of Cameroon. During this holiday period, the refugee children and Cameroonian children jointly have fun in football and handball pitches, participate in sack race and other sporting activities organized by persons of goodwill to segment their unity.
Ensemble là-bas au camp des réfugiés, vous allez informer notre joueuse pour venir jouer avec notre gars ici.
The event, organized at École Publique Group 1, brought together children, youths and parents to also sensitize them on the significance of education of children, especially the girl child. Refugee children have also been receiving lessons at this temporary site that has existed. Parents who had failed to educate their children have been urged to send them to school, which is a fundamental right.
It's good for our children to go to school.
However, some of these sporting activities, organized with aim to unite the Cameroonian children and refugee children, continue to the start of the 2018-2019 academic year.
Cameroon's Minister of Employment and Vocational Training has urged training centers in the country's economic capital, Douala, to put emphasis on the quality of training delivered in those centers in a bid to contribute significantly to efforts to curb the rising unemployment and underemployment among young people, in particular in Cameroon. And he was speaking during a working visit to Douala's Manjikange report.
The rising rate of youth unemployment in Cameroon brought the Minister of Employment and Vocational Training, Zachary Perevet, to Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, this Friday. According to the 2013 report, 30% of young people in Cameroon are unemployed, while 75% are under employment. Owing to the new law on vocational training that was recently adopted by parliamentarians, Zachary Pereve was out to take stock on some of the vocational training institutions in the country. For him, it was a visit to encourage the vocational training centers that are training young people, preparing them for possible employment, and to get an idea of their difficulties. For years now, more higher institutions of learning are gaining grounds in the country, with youth moving around after graduation without employment.
Nous encourageons les responsables des centres de formation à mettre l'accent sur la qualité de la formation.
It is only through quality training that Cameroon will achieve its 2035 goal of emergence. But no answer have been given yet. Why, notwithstanding the numerous training centers, youth unemployment continues to increase in Cameroon.
The indigenous people in Bakola community in the central region of the Republic of Cameroon are worried about what they consider as erosion of their cultural values. They are complaining that inhabitants of some neighboring villages have continued to deprive them of their land for habitation and farming, and they were speaking, indicating that they are also facing problems including lack of potable water, good social amenities like hospitals, as well as roads. Mimi for us more.
Entertainment can be derived in varied forms. But when it comes to the Bakola community in the Nyongan-Kele division of the Central region of Cameroon, it is peculiar. To the population of the Bakola ethnic group, who originate from 3 subdivisions in Nyongan-Kele division, that is, in Ezeka, Maka, and Mesondo, it is through the chanting of traditional songs with the use of drums for men, sticks and bamboos for women and kids. But behind this euphoric atmosphere are a people who believe that neglect and discrimination against them has become a way of life to their neighbors. The people in this community are few, but they complain that they do not feel at home because those from neighboring localities are making life difficult for them. We are always threatened by our neighbors. Even to acquire farmlands is a problem. Either they are seized or our farm youths taken away. This makes us feel like strangers.
En croyant que c'est notre frère, mais il nous menace. Et pourtant, nous sommes ensemble. Et pourtant, l'État dit qu'on doit être ensemble avec nos frères.
The government, as she explains, is preaching the message of oneness. But the living condition of these indigenous people is precarious. They live in huts, potable water absent, and nursing mothers cater for newborn babies under unbearable conditions and atmosphere. As the indigenous population is being honored in Cameroon and beyond, a representative from the office of the divisional officer for Mesondo told the people to feel at home, send their kids to school, and procure identification papers like the birth certificates and ID cards for their better integration into the society.
Envoyer les enfants à l'école en établissant les actes de naissance des enfants, en établissant eux-mêmes des cartes nationales d'identité pour se sentir totalement citoyen.
She urged the people to also notify the administration if their well-being and feeling of belonging are threatened.
Et de dénoncer toute forme de violence faite à leur encontre auprès des autorités.
Out of Cameroon, a shooting in Canada has left at least 4 persons dead. The shooting took place earlier today in Fredericton. Katsi, Euronews. We're talking about a shooting in Canada which left at least 4 persons dead earlier today, and I indicated earlier that the shooting took place in Fredericton and 2 security officials are among the 4 persons killed during the shooting. That's Euronews.
At least 4 people, including 2 police officers, died in a shooting in Canada on Friday morning. Officers confirmed the deaths of their 2 colleagues on Twitter. No names or other details of the victims have been released. 1 person has been taken into police custody. So far, little is known about the circumstances surrounding the incident. It took place in Fredericton in New Brunswick, a small city of around 56,000 inhabitants. Local media images showed emergency vehicles converging on a tree-lined residential street. Nearby facilities were closed and authorities told residents to stay locked in their homes. New Brunswick had only 3 homicide shootings in the whole of 2016, according to Statistics Canada.
That's it for this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. Thanks for staying with us. Do have a really pleasant weekend in the company of our programs. Goodbye.
Alors moi je vais poser une question très simple.